think it means what it's always meant, which is finding ways to listen to the voice of the client and as directly as possible. So this might mean focus group sessions, this might mean research, it might mean looking at data and how they interact with your solutions and systems. And it might also mean really finding opportunities to pass them the mic so that you're hearing from them directly. So multiple channels for listening to, hearing, and understanding what the customer is telling you in all the ways they tell you, whether it's transactions, data, research, or through their own voice. That's a really difficult challenge because many of the tools and things that help us to better serve customers are also unintentionally creating this digital divide. One of the things that we found is that sometimes the smallest changes can make a real difference. So voice recognition technologies, for example, can really help make rural customers or customers that are not as versatile with the digital solutions have more confidence and trust. So by dealing with voice recognition technology. But consequently, a lot of the tools that use voice recognition technology don't have it in natural languages or the languages that tend to be used by customers in rural areas. And so there's a lot of work that still needs to be done to ensure that the technologies that we're using are fit for purpose for these kinds of customers. The other thing is really just having a multiplicity of channels. So recognizing that digital is a journey and that customers will be comfortable or will become comfortable for whatever reason at different times. So making sure that we have the right options at the right time, at the right stages in their journey. So in the beginning, it might be that they're more comfortable speaking with another human being. Now, later on in that journey, it's assisted, right? So they can use some of it or start the transaction themselves, but then ultimately need to speak to a human being. And then become more comfortable and more confident and then start to use it. Again, a critical question. And the way that we've seen things really work and move the needle for institutions has been partnerships, recognizing that there are always new tools, always new solutions, new approaches, and that as an institution, you're not always going to be the best positioned to do that. So one way we try to do it at ACCION is identify within any ecosystem who are those service providers that are doing some interesting things that we can then help and use to create integrated solutions so that each party does what they do best, but then together they're solving for a wider range of problems. A very typical example is helping, working with a microfinance institution to work with women entrepreneurs in peri-urban and rural areas to use digital platforms to gain access to new customers. Now, these digital platforms have their own business models, but they're working with microfinance institutions to now serve a different set of customers. And together you're providing, a wider range of solutions across those two solution providers than the individual entity on their own. So I think looking for more opportunities to do that is a great way for service providers to continuously innovate in services, but still staying true to what their core model is. I think that there are many solutions, many approaches out there, many demonstration models that we call them, that are suggesting the kind of impact that they can have. And the challenge for us is to say, how might we replicate those at scale? How might we accelerate the time to value for many of those things? So as an example, everyone's talking about digital, public infrastructure, which is great. Do we fully understand the possibilities, the opportunities, as well as the risks? And what are the services and solutions we're putting behind it to make sure that that works? On the continent, we're talking about the African Continental Free Trade Agreement and the payment system that will enable and support cross-border trade, especially for the small businesses that exist in many of these markets. Are the solutions that are coming to the fore that are enabled by these kinds of initiatives, are they coming there quickly enough? Are we creating and demonstrating the value of those kinds of initiatives quickly enough? And are we delivering it at scale?